Welcome everybody, Steve here. Today we're going to change the oil on my 2008 Chevy Colorado. Now, I want this to be kind of a generic type of a video. A friend of mine asked me to do some videos for his kids, you know, they're upcoming new drivers. They need to learn how to do some of this stuff and look after their vehicles, so I thought, you know, I'd put as much knowledge as I have out there for them. So today we're going to do the oil change. Now that's a little bit more advanced, but that's okay. Someday in your life you want to save a little bit of money, you need to learn how to do these little things. Well, first thing I can tell you is if you're going to do your own oil, you're going to need a place to do it that's fairly clean. You're going to need to dispose of that oil. You know, you just can't dump it out on the ground. You got to take it into a place that recycles the oil. You're going to need some basic tools and have to be willing to get on the ground. And if you don't like any of those things, you need to take it in. For the most part, most vehicles are pretty easy to change the oil. If you're a first-time driver and Dad buys you a new 911, I would suggest you take that into the dealer. But for most of us, simple matter of finding the drain plug, draining the oil, putting in a new filter, topping her up, and you're good to go. Sounds easy. Every vehicle is a little bit different. You may have to do a little investigating, find out, you know, how to do it. But I'm going to show you how I do it on this one, and then you can kind of look at yours and decide whether you're comfortable to do it or not. So one of the tools that you are going to have, and it's a little bit more specific, is you're going to need a tool to take off the oil filter. Now this one here is just a band tool, and you can get others that just go straight up and you use a ratchet to pop it off. You know, if you don't have one of these, you pretty well can't change your own oil. These are quite inexpensive, and you know, if you are interested in doing these things, it doesn't hurt to start picking up a few tools here and there. Makes your life a lot easier. You're going to need a new filter. You're going to need to get some new oil. How much oil do I need to buy? Well, your friend is your there's a little book that you're going to find in your glove compartment. Every vehicle's got one somewhere. And if I go to mine, I already checked out the numbers, so I don't have to go to the back. No, wrong. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, shows you oil life, how to reset the oil life system. That's that little annoying thing that comes on your dash. It says change oil, change oil. Well, it doesn't go off automatically. It's not magic. You're going to have to do that yourself. See, mine says with the engine turned off, turn the ignition on to run, press and release the stem in the lower center of the instrument cluster until until the oil life message is displayed. Once the alternating oil life and reset messages appear, press and hold the stem until several beeps sound, and this will confirm that the system has been reset. If you don't do that, that little light's going to stay on forever. Then you need to go find out how much oil it's going to be in the capacities and the specifications. So I have a 3.7, so I need to purchase 5.7 liters, so I'm going to need at least 6 liters. Once you have that, you're ready to go. So let's get started. I gotta change my tripod so we can get underneath the truck and start taking stuff apart. We'll see you down there. The first thing I'm gonna do, I've got this guard right here, just a plastic little gravel guard, and I have to remove this to get to my oil filter. Now if you have to do something like that, it's usually something simple. This one here is only 4 bolts. Just like that. That's where the oil filter is. I don't know if you can see that. Let's check her out. There it is right there. All right, that's the oil filter. Before we go there, we are going to drain the oil. You need to locate your oil pan. Now that's part of the engine. So when you're looking, make sure you're not draining the oil out of your transmission or something. Now usually I use a ratchet. That way I don't, with a 6-point, that way I don't round off my plug here. Comes off quite a few times, so I'll move the bucket out of the way so I can get it loose here. It'll come off fairly easy. And it's going to shoot out quite a long ways when it first gets going. So I unscrew it and then hold the bolt in a little bit, and then I'll pull it out when I know I'm out of threads. So hold on to it and then pull it out. That was close. You can see how far it shot out. Now it's going to take some time to drain. So we're just going to leave it there. Now the ideal thing here is to have your engine warm, not hot, because hot, then you end up burning yourself, of course. But the oil's going to flow a lot nicer if it's warm. Well, it's still dripping a little bit, but it'll drip for a long, long time. Because all that engine oil's got to leak through your engine, and, you know, if it's been started recent. So I'm just going to wipe a little bit in case there's a cootie. It's okay to have a little bit of oil there. It's not going to hurt nothing. Like on your bolt here, on your plug, you've got a little O-ring here, and that's going to seal your oil up. Now, it's very important when you're tightening this that you don't over tighten it. You don't go light, you go snug. That means not putting your foot up against there and just giving her a good reef. This is aluminum. You don't want to strip this out. Done. Our oil is all drained out. I usually like to work this way because if I spill a bunch of oil when I take my filter out, then I don't have to lay in it to work on this. So now our oil is done. Let's concentrate on the filter. Now, these little tools only work one way. Sometimes you got to hold it in place to get it to turn. Now I'm just going to loosen this off until I can turn it by hand.
That's it. Now, this manufacturer, of course Chevrolet, they put this little cup down here to catch the oil, and the oil's supposed to drain down here. Well, that does not work. So what I usually do is I have made just took a side out of a windshield washer antifreeze thing, and I'll put that right there, and then take my oil filter out that way. This is the part where you're going to get some oil on you. Just let that drain. Pull that out, and I'm just going to put it upside down into my tray there, or into my bucket. And I'm just going to leave that there till it stops dripping. And see, you get a little dirty. Just use some mineral spirits, some paint thinner, or some bar salt. That'll clean your hand right up. We're done dripping now. I can take my little tray out. I don't know how I did it, but I burnt the side out of it. I could probably make a new one day. Alright, we need a clean little rag here. Just carefully wipe any oil away where the seal of the oil filter is going to be. You don't want a piece of dirt or something in there. Sometimes these oil filters are hard to get at. And if you have to jack your vehicle up, make sure you're very safe. Some of the most experienced people in this world have died because cars have fallen off of jack stands and rolled on them and things like that. Just to think of the worst thing that can possibly happen and prevent it from happening. Alright, time to fill up the oil filter and screw it into place. Alright, you need to know what type of oil to use, and that'll be in your manual, or it might be on the cap. This one here says 5W30. I just happen to use synthetic oil. Now you don't have to fill this right to the top, but you want it fairly full. That way your engine's not running dry. Because if you have to tip it a little bit to get it into its spot, you don't want oil leaking out everywhere. And always just put a little bit on the side like this. I'll put that somewhere where it's going to fall. And you take a little bit of oil, and you got this little O-ring right here. You want to make sure that you oil up that O-ring. Just a little dab will do you. Now we're ready to install it. Don't fall. Just got one little spot there, and it's going to wipe the oil off. Now you want to take your time when you put this in. You don't want to hit something and get some dirt in there. Just take your time. And then you just kind of wiggle it till it starts. Once you got it going, you just tighten her up. Now, a lot of people don't know this, But you only hand tighten these. I'm done. Right there. That's a good, well, I tightened it up pretty tight. But if you use this to tighten that, you may never get this off again. So only hand tighten. Alright, we're done all the dirty work. Now we can put the guard back on. Get all your bolts started first before you tighten everything up. In case she's out of crooked somewhere. Put this weighty one over here. Time to put the oil in. Now, make sure you get it in the right spot. There's usually a little oil can looking thing like this with a drop in it. It'll say SAE 5W30 or 10W30 or something like that. Make sure you get it in the right place. This is your radiator. So I'll put it in there. Now, I'm pretty steady. I've done this quite a bit, and where I put my oil, it's right out in front. If it's not really easy, then you should get a funnel. So in my book it says I need 5.7 liters, so we'll add 5.7 liters. Now on this one here, I can just let that drain for a little bit. I want to get every ounce of oil out of that can because oil's getting expensive. Now I'm just going to put 0.7 in here. Now this is 1 quart. It's almost a liter. So I'm going to go down till it's at about 3, and that should be close enough. They usually got a little clear strip there so you can see what's going on. Just a bit more. Perfect. Don't forget to put your cap back on. Alright, now it's time to check the oil. Now your dipstick, let's see where we are in frame here. Oh yeah, we're good.
Your dipstick is usually yellow. On an older vehicle, it's just going to be a silver little thing. There's one that kind of looks like it, you know, for the transmission, but this is the oil one. Give it a wipe. Make sure it's nice and dry. Pull it out. Check it, make sure you're full. We're good to go. All right, if you're at this stage, you have successfully changed oil in your vehicle. Wasn't that hard at all, was it? Now, it's pretty simple on this Colorado, but the next step, we're going to start this, and we're going to make sure that our oil light goes out, and then you're going to look underneath your car, make sure that there's no drips. In case you forgot to, you know, tighten down the, you know, the bolt for the oil, the plug. Those things happen, but you got to make sure that you check. So let's give it a start, make sure everything's good to go. Oil light is out. Got no leaks. Success story. So there. You just changed the oil in your vehicle. Now I hope to do a bunch more stuff here. We're going to go over what I do, just to, you know, the simple maintenance things that you need to do to keep your vehicle lasting for a long time. That'll be coming soon. But I had miled out on my Colorado, and it was time to change the oil. A perfect time to teach you how to do that as well. So, stay tuned. Catch up to you next time.